Today we're looking at one of the Tarkov player base's favourite DMRs, the SR25. This thing mods out much more closely to an M4 style weapon, with good handling both on ergonomics and recoil, and fires a very powerful cartridge. In 1.0 it's also been given a little upgrade with a new suppressor which you can attach, which I think is arguably more meta than the old QDC combo. So let's get right into it and see where you can get the SR25 from. So basically what BSG have done, as well as the old version, which is this guy, the black version that we had before, we've now got this new line here, which is the M110 version, and this is in tan. Now, practically speaking, the only real difference between these two guns is firstly the color, and then secondly the fact that this guy begins with the longer barrel, whereas this one only has the shorter version, which is the 16-inch. You can see the 20-inch down here. There's also a special stock as well, the SAS stock that comes with this gun, that actually isn't compatible with this one for some reason, but given it's not very good, it doesn't really matter. For all intents and purposes, these are basically just modifications of each other. They both have exactly the same base recoil. If you take off all of the parts, you can see what the base recoil is for each gun, and they both have the same stats of 47 ergonomics and 155 vertical recoil. So there's no advantage in buying one version over the other from a stats perspective, so you shouldn't really have a preference outside of the color as to which one to use. Unlike some other guns like the MDR, this one is actually available on the flea market, so you can see you can buy them pretty cheaply at about 70k. The other version is a little bit more expensive at about 80k, but this fluctuates and it depends on who's got what listed at the time. As usual, this is never really worth bothering with because this ends up being about 176,000 rubles, which is a lot more money than you get on the flea market. But on this side, in theory, at least, you could technically get the one from Ref, which comes with a TAC 30 and a suppressor. But this build isn't really that good. And so the one that I think is probably the most recommended, that actually keeps the prices down for the SR25, is this guy. This is on Peacekeeper, and for a Cyclone, you can get the base SR25. Cyclones are only about 63k, so this really is quite cheap as a base for this particular gun. So let's first look at what changed in terms of the suppressor. So over here we've got the old meta suppressor, which is the QDC muzzle brake kit, and on top of that we used to put on the PRS QDC. Now this combination is pretty good, but it is quite expensive, and the QDC itself is about 90k on its own. You can barter it for a Golden Rooster for a small discount, but it's still pretty pricey. So the one thing that has changed recently is there's a new suppressor that you can add to this, which comes from the M110 version. However, you need a different gas block to make it work. So there's these two new gas blocks, one in tan and one in black, that they've added, which is the M110 double high Picatinny glass block. And once you add one of these, we'll just remove the suppressor just for simplicity, you see you get a new option kind of inside the barrel, and that allows you to add these two things here, which is the Mark 11 762 sound suppressor, again in black or in tan. These things have minus 18% recoil, which is actually slightly superior to the CAC QDC combo. But when you put this on, you have to use this particular gas block, as we just saw. So with this new gas block, the recoil that you get is minus 2.5%, but with the GS6, this is minus 4. So you do lose 1.5 recoil from doing this particular combination, but you gain 1 recoil overall by using this versus the QDC, because that's minus 17. So net, you end up losing half a recoil point, but you actually gain 2.5 ergo for the privilege, which is pretty good. Now, interestingly, these are also a lot cheaper than the alternative. Right now, these are really cheap, 35k. Sometimes you'll find that the tan version is a bit cheaper than the black version, not at the moment. But you can just look at both and just see whichever is the best value. The rest of the gun is pretty much the same. I pretty much always go for the ergonomic versions on this particular weapon. So we're going to go for the Lancer, one of these AFG M-locks, because if you remember, the SE5 isn't really worth it, because although you get one more ergonomics, you actually shave off a bit of weight using this, and it's a bit cheaper, so it ends up being the same overall effect on the weapon. We'll swap over our pistol grip to a Growl as normal, and then on the stock, it's up to you. ARE plus MOE is technically the kind of like meta recoil version, but the recoil doesn't really matter here. So you could be tempted to go for the Daniel's Defense instead, which is another really good combination you can use with one of the butt pads. Obviously, you pick the color that you like, go for the black version, and then maximize ergo with the thin pad. On this particular handguard, you can only put the rear sight on for a tiny little bit of extra ergonomics, and then you're basically good to go. There's one extra enhancement that you can make to the charging handle, but other than that, you basically now just got to pick a scope and add a flashlight or a laser. Overall, obviously it depends exactly on the pricing at the time, but when you look on the flea market at the moment, this is 158k plus the weapon, which you can barter for a Cyclone. So the whole thing's about 220,000 rubles for a meta SR25, which I think is pretty good, especially when you consider that a gun like the MDR, although it does have full auto, is at 280,000 rubles because you have to buy it from Peacekeeper because you can't get them on the flea. Now, what's interesting about the SR25 is that when you compare it to a weapon like the MDR doesn't get as low on vertical recoil. But when I tested them out both on semi-auto, in today's recoil model, it actually hardly makes a difference. I thought that the MDR would have a slightly more wild recoil pattern than it actually ended up doing, but they were very, very similar. So I wouldn't focus too strongly on recoil on these particular guns in semi-auto because of the way that the recoil works in today's Tarkov. Another weapon that gets talked about a lot when you look at the SR25 is the G28, which I also think is a very strong weapon. This hasn't really received any updates this wipe, but it is a decent contender, and the main difference between something like the G28 and the SR25 is the magazines you can get. With the SR25, you're able to use the 25 rounders and even the 50s if you want. These are really expensive, but this does give you a little bit of extra alternative to increase your mag capacity a little, whereas the G28 doesn't have that option and only has 20s. It is a little lighter than the SR25 though, so to be honest, they're both kind of interchangeable. I've talked about this before when we looked at the AK-308, which I do think is a pretty nice gun, about the ammo availability, and if you're running endgame weapons like this, you pretty much want to be using M80 at a bare minimum. This is on Ref level 3 or Peacekeeper 4 after doing Revision Lighthouse. But to make the weapon truly sing, you want to be focusing on M80A1, which is craftable in the workbench at level 3 once you've done Wet Job Part 6. This gives you the ability to go toe-to-toe with Class 6 plates pretty easily, and I might actually do a video about Class 6 soon because there's some extra ways to get it compared to how we had it in the last wipe, which means that having ammo that punches through Class 6 is more important than it ever has been before. One extra benefit of M80A1 is projectile speed is quite a bit quicker than M80, which makes it really nice for shooting over medium to longish distances as well. But the only thing to bear in mind is that the durability burn on this thing is really quite high. This actually compounds with the SR25 itself because the Mark 11 suppressor also has a really high durability burn, so you do have to keep an eye out for the damage that's taken to this weapon after a couple of raids, especially if you've ended up shooting a lot. So with that, we're going to get into some clips of the SR25 and how it's performed for me in a few recent raids. Aha! He dared. He dared. Right, let's go. It's a big boy. Oh, God. Wait. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, I'm here. Is this spawn still as cursed as it used to be? I really haven't played Shoreline since the new changes, so... Okay. Should we go down here? Should we go this way? No, I don't know where they're going to spawn up here. I really have no... I have no understanding of how and where they go. Oh, I didn't take any nades, crap. Oops. It didn't sound like that guy died. I don't think I killed him. Oh no, I did kill him. Okay. Oh, wait. Timmy, what are you doing here? Not Timmy. He's fighting with the big boys. Oh no. So who's this guy? Some level 26 guy with a pistol, right? I think I'm gonna face this way just in case somebody is like... Oh, look, nice. Ah, that's the reason why he died. MPX, gotcha. I understand. Have you played Prey? Nope. Any good? This guy got a freaking spear. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna be able to fit it on otherwise. Okay, that's fine. That'll do. Random Shimar. Are you going to prestige? I actually think I'm not going to. Weirdly. And I need to see what they do with seasonal before I do. Because I don't want to wipe my account kind of close to the seasonal account and then have two accounts at a low level, because that would just kind of suck. Because I'm I'm not rushing. I'm not taking my time to go through Kappa. And then I'm going to do the story after that. So that's probably going to, you know, keep me occupied for a couple of months, I would say, between the two things. I'm going to wait until I see the seasonal character and see what they do with it. Oh. Interesting. I got to get over there to do what I need to do. Just checking who they're shooting at. Oh, I can hear like a bullet crack. Not bullet crack necessarily, but you know what I mean, like a bullet impact. I think they're far-ish away. Oh, that's a scav, and there's a load of dead bodies there. Bunch of shots over that side. Okay, well, let's just wheel round. I think it'll be alright if we wheel in from over here. I might actually go all the way down here and then back this way, because otherwise I might just get caught out in the middle of nowhere, which is gonna kind of suck. It's gonna add a little bit of extra time to what we're doing here, but it's a lot safer just in case we get caught. That's all I'm doing. Nothing too groundbreaking, to be honest. Oh, is that the BTR? Not really enough time. I always get nervous about running in a straight line for too long on this map. I'd rather be slightly slower, but a bit more erratic. It's like 1.0, you know, permanent account. I may as well do the For Humanity ending. There goes one guy. Now I'm going to try and sweep round. Not a Kepka. That is unfortunate, to say the least. After that, now we've got to go all the way around. Other guy killed? I think so. Or it might be a scav, I'm actually not sure. Oh, nailed! Nailed! Alright, let's get ourselves healed up. We're on form today, guys. We're on form. Oh yeah, I can't get these guys though unless I restart the game. Oh, energy's low as well. Hold on, man. Eat this. Otherwise, we won't be able to loot because I've got a loot bug. Often, whenever I do this, I always end up seemingly to be like lying down with a scav over the top of me, shooting me with a TOS. This is normally what happens when I do this. Okay, looks like we're back. Looks like we're back. Okay, nice. Alright. Yes, I lost a mag, but never mind. So where was this guy? He was like behind a tree or something. Oh, I should probably take this golden star on. He was here, I think. You can... I've like really started to aggressively abuse duos' capacity for just staying in the same spot and like protecting their friend. It's quite fun, actually. Because they always stay and protect their mate. It makes them very easy to kill. Half M855A1, half M856A1. Literally like alternating 50-50. That's kind of cool. Fair enough. And then his friends appear, I think. Yeah, 4 minutes, everyone left? I think so. It's got the cool ANAM too. I've got to watch the time here, though. Right, whatever. We're just going to get out of here. Am I going to make it? Am I too heavy? We'll make it now. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we were going to do that before. A number of people who like to stand still. I did Psycho Sniper. I basically sat behind one of these trees over here. Hopefully this one works. I didn't actually check to make sure that was not going to shoot me, but it wants to loot their kills. It's kind of an out camping situation. Yeah. I'm quite glad I did the mule then. I'm not sure if I'd have got out without it.